Hey, it's Auction Dry Fire Training Cards, and today I'm going to show you how you can dramatically improve your trigger finger isolation. Basically, it's a step-by-step process. You're going to need a few things. You're going to need a 1-inch reflector, like what I've got back there. I just use these nice little adhesive driveway reflectors that are ridiculously cheap. You can also use a Birchwood Casey 1-inch target, anything that's about an inch. If you're having problems hitting a 1-inch target, go ahead and switch to a 2-inch target, that's fine. But what you're going to find is that with trigger finger isolation, if you're getting sympathetic movement from your other fingers or from your wrist, it's going to throw you off a lot. Because of that, you're going to start this drill at about 6 feet away. I'm about 15 feet here, but that's because the flash on the reflector, it's too bright if I get much closer. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to need the 1-inch target. Ideally, you're going to use a SIRT or a dry fire pistol. You can use, if you've got an M&P or another pistol that has a trigger that resets, all you have to do is make sure that you don't have a magazine inserted and that you've got the chamber blocked. If you've got a 1911, I suggest using an airsoft pistol because it will give you a resetting trigger that it'll help a ton with all of your dry fire. The other option is if you've got a Glock, you can use dry fire cord. And with dry fire cord, it will cause your trigger to respond after each press and reset. So you end up with a resetting trigger very, very quickly, very, very easily, and your chamber's blocked and you got a visual indicator that there are no live rounds inserted. You're also going to want a metronome app, and I use Metro Timer or Metronome from, I believe it's called Onyx on the iTunes store. You can use it on a phone or you can use it on an iPad like this. So here's the drill. What you're going to do is you're going to start out, and I'm going to start at 30 beats per minute. So that's 1 rep every 2 seconds. And I'm going to shoot every time it beeps. When you get that, go ahead and move up to 60 beats and 120. Let me do it at 120, show you what that looks like. So that's half-second splits. With this app, I can go up to 250, and I'll show you what that's like. So what's going on here, and how do you do this? Well, what happens is there's a map in your brain of your hand, and the more granular that map is, the easier it is to isolate movement of a specific joint. If you're using a hammer all day, if you're wearing mittens all day, if you're cranking a wrench all day and not doing fine detail work with your fingers, you're not going to have a very fine map in your brain of your hand. The good news is you can improve it very, very quickly using this drill. All you've got to do is find out where you're at, find the speed that you can run the trigger without sympathetic movement from your other fingers or from your wrist, and push it. Just work your way up. Play with the intensity of your grip, because the tighter you grip, the more sympathetic movement you're going to have from your other fingers and your wrist. But as you progress with this, you're going to get way, way quicker with your trigger finger movement, and you're not going to be moving the sight alignment down into the left or to the left because your other fingers and your wrist are getting involved. Once you get up past the speed that you want to shoot at, and let me back up for a second. So with this drill, It's dry fire. You're going to be able to run the trigger faster in dry fire than you can in live fire because of the fact that you've got additional factors with live fire. You've got to time the recoil or watch the sights get back into alignment for that next shot to be able to make a second, third, fourth precise shot with live fire. You don't have to do that with dry fire. And that's okay. With this drill, the main thing that you're trying to do is isolate trigger finger movement and train the brain to run the finger without running the rest of the hand. So once you get this mastered, once you get to where you're doing what I demonstrated there, where you're up in the 180 to 200 presses per minute range, what you want to do is start adding in other factors. I'll give you an example. You can count backwards from 100 by 7. So 100, 93, 86, 79, 72, 65, 58. And I'll be honest with you, that's challenging when I'm not shooting. And it's challenging when I'm shooting also. I can do it a little bit better, actually a lot better than I used to be able to, because I've done it so many times demonstrating it. But what you're going to find is, if isolating trigger finger movement has become a conditioned response that you don't have to think about, and that neural pathway is deep and myelinated, then you can add other stresses and the skill won't break down. So you want to add a mental load, like counting backwards from 100 by 7. Have somebody ask you very simple math questions, 2 plus 3, 6 plus 8. Math questions like that. It doesn't have to be crazy. Then you can start doing lunges and squats while you're keeping up the cadence. You can move back and forth. You can stand on one leg and practice your balance. And eventually you can start advancing and retreating at odd angles as well as straight forward and backwards while holding that 1-inch group at fairly high rates. And again, what we're trying to do here is just make that practice of isolating the trigger finger such a conditioned response, such a natural reaction for the brain that nothing will shake it, whether it's a mental load, a movement load, no matter what the situation is, you're going to be able to isolate that trigger finger movement. If you want to see more examples of ways to challenge this drill, just comment below and let me know. And follow my page on YouTube, which is youtube.com/dryfiretrainingcards, and I'll post videos if there's demand for them. But for more neurologically based training like this that helps you make really fast gains in performance in less time and with less money than what's possible with traditional live fire training, I want to encourage you to go to dryfiretrainingcards.com. It's like dry fire training except on steroids. This is truly cutting edge material. It incorporates accelerated learning techniques and cutting edge neurology that is done in a very simple way. You don't have to understand the science. I explain the science if you want to learn it. If you don't want to learn it, all you have to do is do the drills and you get the full benefit. But take advantage of this by heading over to dryfiretrainingcards.com.